Welcome to Next Generation Politics. Totne, you're on the air.
Alright guys, this episode we're gonna talk about education again. Last time we had a little debate, pros and cons of if school should be more controlled or if it shouldn't be more controlled.
Well, what do you mean by controlled?
Controlled, like more testing, more they make sure that everything goes well, basically.
Like, so more testing, harder harder, more supervision,
Yeah, more
penalizing
supervision.
if you make mistakes?
I wouldn't say penalizing, but
Well, if you fail a test, that's a penalty then, yeah. If you have a bad day and you make a mistake on a test, then that's on your record.
yeah, I mean, that's life. That's how life is gonna. School should be an example of life that you're gonna go in.
What life are you living where everything is so negative and so horrible all the time, where everybody's just scolding you and holding you down?
Is that New York? Is it is it New York? I don't know. I'm thinking like I don't know what life you're living where everything is like bubbly and happy. You know.
I mean, I like to think that my life, I am happy. I'm very happy. But yes, no, New York City is definitely a very tough place to live.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, and you're on your own.
So that's what I was thinking, where it should be like a training tool because a lot of times people said, oh, where I'm gonna use geography or whatever when I go into real life. I don't need this when I go into real life. You're not gonna have that question if they actually train you stuff that you will use in your life.
That makes no sense because that's exactly what they're going to put on a standardized test. You're saying you need more tests, then teachers are just going to teach to the test. They're going to be like, all right, well, this question's going to be on the test. You're just going to learn this information. It doesn't teach you how to think outside of the box. It doesn't show you extra, going to grabs.
No, it's not just about math and geography or English. I'm talking about everything. Arts. It should be more specific to what you want to do. Up to like 18 high school, you could learn like all those English, math, whatever. But after that, you choose your specialty, right? That we talked about in the other video. And you go in. It could be arts, like it could be any field that you want to be in.
If you want to add all these extra tests, what happens when people start failing these tests?
You just don't get up. Not everybody's gonna fail.
No, but what happens to all the? If you're going to make more tests, that means more people are going to fail. What's going to happen to the more people who fail?
It's not just about test. Remember, I also thought about like a panel.
No, don't divert the question. If you're going to make more tests, what's going to happen to the people who fail?
It's not just about tests. That's my point.
No, but if you're saying that there's going to be jobs or you're going to have to pick a specialty, what if the person fails because they're not a good test taker in the beginning and then they don't get their specialty? What happens to that person?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's not just based on test. It's also based on what I'm saying. Decrease the test value and also bring in another side of testing. So if you're not good at testing, right? You're writing down and reading and being on the pressure of like reading, answering a question, then you should be able to translate your knowledge through speaking. There would be another way you could do it.
Okay,
so if you're knowledgeable about the topic, you could tell the teacher.
Okay, so you're saying take the written standard tests that we have today and make them less valuable.
Yes.
And then make other forms where the teacher can review you, say like auditory and speaking group projects. So I'm on board for that. That's a great idea. I like that.
That's what I was saying. Because there's multiple ways to get the knowledge out of the students. And a lot of countries they don't do multiple choice. That's what I found out.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to write the answer down. You either know it or you don't know it. There's no guessing involved. So there's no guessing. There's less cheating because everybody has a different answer. They could answer a different way, and they could get to the point. Explanation.
Well, give an example of a question then that you can give multiple answers for that could all be correct. That everybody's is going to be different.
Multiple. I mean, you could give multiple answer. Like you would write down something different than I would, right? If there's like, what do you like about New York, right? You could answer that question many ways, but it could be all correct. It's like it's all individual. All the answering would be individual. People are not gonna write word by word answer to what everybody else is thinking because that doesn't happen. If you put 20 people in a room, ask them same question, people will answer in different ways. That's how I look at it. And that's what they say, either know it or not. Like in Finland, that's one of the most non-homework. It's more about social environment than like more testing, like what you're saying. But also they're really strict on teachers. What I found out, all the pressure is usually on the teachers. You have to be really qualified in Finland to be a teacher, and you have to be really qualified to be a Finland a teacher in Japan, and you have to be really qualified to be a teacher in South Korea. Those are all the countries.
Those are the top countries that have the top.
Always in top 5 of best education in the world.
The United States is 14.
It's in top 20.
Yeah.
But a lot of things that US gets bringed up is their high education. It just bumps them up, but their public school system is kind of different.
So, we went into that last time about how the big difference. Yeah, the private charter school compared to the underfunded public school.
Yeah.
It's like someone's gonna have a way bigger advantage.
Yeah. So that's what it brings up the private stuff brings up in England too. A lot of private schools bring up the scores in the world records because it's better. And if you just take the public schools, it's nothing. They're really bad. If you would go even lower, you'd probably be in the 30s or something in the world. If you take
away
private and like Harvard and Yale and them out, they're great universities, but it's all about money when you get to that. Another thing Finland does, it's great, is that everybody could have an education. It doesn't matter if you're poor or rich. Rich and poor kids go to school together. There's a base level like a system, education, and every school has that. It doesn't matter if you go to school rich neighborhood or poor neighborhood, they will teach you same thing, and it'd be same quality. And I think that's the hardest thing to do.
We're doing that here in New York.
They're rich in it, which is great. I think New York is so rich, it's possible to do that here.
Well, how do we incorporate something like that into Georgia?
Oh, New York, there's probably 12, let's say 12 million, right? Mm-hmm. Probably 12 million people.
That's 4 times the size of Georgia.
Yeah. And if we could do it here, Finland, like small country, South Korea, they're one of the best, and there's like smaller than Georgia, but their population is a lot bigger, and they're in economy and in school systems, they're so good. They're always in top 5. Mm-hmm. So it's so easy to do it in Georgia because there's not much schools to do it to, and there's not much. But there's in like US and many countries that are not in the top 5 and top 10. Their teachers are not respected and paid well. That's another thing.
Oh God, no! Teachers are very, very important, and I feel that teachers should also have incentives.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the better you perform, like I don't know whether it's
exactly
whatever, anything that make your job easier, give you more perks or more money, more vacation days.
Exactly, I think
higher titles.
Definitely, the teachers should be put in the same boat as lawyers, doctors, or any big field like that. Teachers should be more respected, and they should have way higher, like a lawyer kind of status and payment. They should be like above average kind of salary, not as average salary. And it should be really hard to be a teacher. You have to get masters and all. You have to be really educated.
But then that raises the question: how are we going to get the money to give them to get higher criteria teachers?
I would say
tax the people more.
No, not tax the people more. The one thing that I could say is make, like, in Finland they also they have a lot of good things in Finland. They also have this thing where masters is free for the citizens of Finland, master's degree. Mm-hmm. So if you want to become a teacher, you could go through all the schooling all the way to the masters and get your education. If you want to be in that, like basically pick that route, I want to be a teacher from 18. And you could just take that route all the way to masters, graduate in masters, and become a teacher.
Okay. Now, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 18. What happens to that person?
I mean, some people do. That's the hardest thing. Another thing they're trying to work on in Finland is to get that out of you. Like that's the whole social aspect, what you like. That's like a big aspect of school is to get along with just by critical thinking with your classmates and how you behave. You could do activities.
I mean, that just seems like a whole new stress in itself. Like, all right, well, you're 18, you're about to graduate now. It's like, pick. This is it. 60 years. You live 80 years. If science gets better. You live 100 years from now. This is what you're doing.
I mean, I think that's part of the job of the schools to be like, you have all this time, you have years and years to like help kids to see what their interests are. What do you like? Understand the students individually and what they like and where do they want to be. And when they get up to 18, they kind of have a certain kind of aspect, and like you should encourage, oh, what do you really like to do? Let's look at the things you like to do and what field that those are involved in. Because if you do something really well in any industry, there's great money to be made. If you like film, you could be a filmmaker.
Well,
there's so much money in that.
But the thing is,
be an artist.
I feel there's going to be so many adolescents that don't know exactly what they want to do. So if you're saying it's on the job of the school and the teachers to help the students figure out what they want to do with the rest of their lives, then what about aptitude tests?
What do you mean?
Aptitude test will be like a series of random questions that shows what your skills are in. It's not graded. It's not anything. It just shows like, oh, you're strong in science and you're weak in literacy, but you're extremely creative.
Definitely. I think they should say that. They had nothing to do with grades. I think every 3 years or every 4 years to test the knowledge of the students, that'd be great. Just to and see what teachers could do, what they could improve on, what school is doing great or not. It's because it's not graded, so the pressure is off you. It's not for your grade, it's for nothing. I think that's a great thing to do as well. So we agree on that.
Well, yeah, of course. If you're going to try and help the students with a way to help them show their life. Now the 18 thing, that's kind of outrageous. That's tight. That's really tight. Your brain, your frontal lobe doesn't finish developing, or it's like your brain's not fully developed until what, 24, 25? And that's the decision-making part of your brain, like the last part to develop.
Like
you're crazy when you're that age.
Personally, I knew what I want to do when I was like 17.
But everybody's 16. Not you.
I know. A lot of people don't know what they do. But school could encourage it, right? They're not doing that these days. We just go to school, they're like, oh, learn math, write this down, formula, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing into social aspect. If a person doesn't go into like extracurricular activities, right, after school, and nobody's motivating that, they're never going to find out what they're into. They're just going to be like, every day, you just go to school, go home, go to school, go home.
I know, but what you're saying is just, it's a straight path. I'm saying there's a lot of people that are not going to be able to follow the exact curriculum that you're coming up with. What about kids that are homeschooled or other kids that aren't ready to make the decision yet, or people who want to maybe travel? They don't want to go to school just yet. They want to go see the world first. Yeah,
and then that's your choice. And you could continue where you left off. Basically, you're 18.
So that's the key. So you just continue where you left off.
Yeah. Because so you graduate, you go home, travel the world, and come back.
Like no matter how long of a pause you take.
And then go into the specialty. And then continue. So
say someone's 18.
You can't jump in front of people that know what they're doing from 17 and they went through all that, and you just went out and had partied and joined your life and traveled the world, and you come jump in front of the people that worked hard to get to that point. That's not fair for the people.
Okay, so you're saying if someone's 18 and they're like, all right, I'm not going to continue my education right now.
Yeah.
And then they say 10 years later, they come back. They're like, okay, I'm going to continue my education now. They just start exactly where they were when they were 18 to continue. Yeah, and then what's the final step?
University.
What happened? Well, so you don't go to university at 18?
You could do that. There's two roads. After 18, when you graduate high school, there's two roads you could take. Either you want to be working and learning at the same time, like a hand, like a apprenticeship. The Germans have that word, apprenticeship. They do. The specialist, basically. It's kind of like being an intern, basically. But you're still in school, but you're also interning. So you're like hands-on learning in the industry. So you basically getting a job, but you're in school at the same time, and you're learning everything about the specific industry that you went into and want to learn and want to grow in the industry. Or you could go straight to the university, which would take, of course, longer, 5 years. This would be like a 2-year program. Like you become like, what's this? I think not bachelor's degree, but what's the other one that we have? You know?
Associate.
Associate, yeah. You'd be like more like an associate degree.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having an associate degree, you would have the specialty program. Because the associate degree doesn't mean anything, really. In America, what? Like now, these days, they should not even have it. Like,
I mean, America's completely different. There's 300 million people compared to 3 million. You can take 3 million people. Everybody kind of thinks the same way. Georgia, same exact culture. So they're going to be all on board for the exact same thing as far as education.
Yeah, of course.
You can do that similar to Finland. Now, if you want to talk about America's education system, it's very, very, very entangled in bureaucracy.
Seriously, if you look at New York, what kind of money they have and what kind of money Finland has, or Korea, like it's pretty big difference, and you could do a lot of things. And population is same, almost as South Korea, and it's bigger than South Korea, more resources than South Korea. So as a state, it could do it. It could be a state level decision, and show how the thing. I mean, US is big, but you could also try things state by state. A lot of things are legal in some states. A lot of things are not legal in some states, right? That's how US works. States have their own governing board as well. So when we when we see that it's huge and whatever, yeah, of course, it's going to take a lot longer to the whole country, but you could start with the state as well. So I think, do we agree on some? I think we agreed on some stuff.
We agreed on devaluing the tests. That's what we agreed on. Yes, taking them and making them not count, and having teachers be giving incentives on top of what they already have in order to have students learn or be more knowledgeable, and just by performing well, give teachers more money and an opportunity. That's what we agreed on.
Exactly. Have better teachers with paid more money.
I can tell you what we disagreed on. We disagreed on quite a bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I don't say that we agree on this subject. It's, if you're making it so that it's a one-way road, you have to do this, and if you fall off this track, then you're going to get left for the dust. So that I do not think. I think that there should be a bunch of different ways that you can be educated. Like what is it? The Amish. For some reason, the Amish have a very, very low amount of children with ADHD. Because if a child's in a classroom and he doesn't want to sit still, they bring him outside and they teach him something else. So I'm more on board with an education system like that, where you take from the get-go everybody's strengths and like, oh, that's what let's work on that.
I'm talking
rather
to
than
you. It should be more individual, and they should work on the specialty. That's inside of the school system, and that's why there should be a trained teacher. That's a really good teacher that could do that.
Well, see, that's
their style.
That's where it gets muddy between what we agree on, because you're more of like, learn hard.
I'm just saying the
system.
system.
You make a mistake. That's it. You're done.
No,
I'm more like, let's work with you. That's how I feel.
No, that's the teacher's job. That's what I say. That's not the system's job. That's the teacher's job. That's why
yours is a very tough system. I don't know if I'm not on board with that.
That on the teachers. I want good results because every student is different. I want the teacher they are hired and pay really good money. That's why I'm saying we should pay them money and have really qualified teachers. They understand that, and they would work with the kids and teach them different ways, because everybody learns different way. That's the system puts the ball in the teacher's court on that. Up to 18, and then the specialty or a university. And when you graduate 18 and you go somewhere and don't go through the specialty or university, that's kind of like, it's bad for the people when you come back.
Who's to say?
It's messed up.
No.
Unless you
went and you learned some amazing different cultural aspects of the world, and then you come back and say you start a podcast talking about your endeavors all throughout the world in Georgia, and it becomes one of the most famous podcasts, and then it enlightens Georgian people because of all of their world travels, and then more people travel to Georgia. You cannot say that there's no way that is accurate what you just said.
it could also continue when you come back. Nobody's saying you can't. Or you could be entrepreneur, you do anything you want. It's a free economy anyway. I'm not saying it's a dictatorship, you have to go this way. If you're an entrepreneur, you take the risk of not going to school, it's on you. If you go to school, you know you're guaranteed. You basically have a safety net if you go do the system. If you don't do the system, it's on you.
Okay.
Basically, good luck.
So
How it is today.
All right. It's either so you jump on board with us, you follow our views. If you agree with us, we'll give you a job. If you don't, that's on you.
Let us know what you guys think. And thank you for watching. Like and subscribe our channel.
That's the sound of the beast.